Good afternoon, everybody. Kind of start with what we did last week. We were able to get a number of guys back, and so we kind of went back to fall camp mode, worked Kansas State versus Kansas State Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. We had 4 good days of just good on good and working young guys and just working on our schemes and our system to try to continue to improve. We lost so much time with a number of players due to a variety of issues that we had that everybody's dealing with in August. And so we went back, kind of back to the basics for the last week. And now we'll turn our attention to obviously an extremely talented Oklahoma team. They have 1 game on their ledger. So we didn't feel like we needed to spend all week because we need to get better as Kansas State, as our team with all our fundamentals and techniques. So we know it's going to be a tremendous challenge down in Norman. We're hopeful that we continue to get some guys back that potentially could help us. Every day is a different animal on that because you don't know from one day to the next who's going to be out at practice. But the guys that are out there yesterday, for example, just really worked hard and are excited about the opportunity.
Get started with Scott Fritchen.
Hey, Chris. You indicated yesterday that you've been short on bodies. Exactly how close is this team to crossing that threshold to where you can't play a game on Saturday? And what kind of anxiety has that caused you this week?
Well, it causes us anxiety every day, Scott, to be honest with you. I mean, even on the Arkansas State game, it was Friday at 5:00 where we finally got the go ahead to play because we were one player at one position from having to cancel that game. And we're not the only ones. There's a lot of people. Obviously, Baylor's going through it. And this week, it's another position that we're really close on the threshold. And we just got to keep preaching to the guys to keep their social distance, keep their mask on, to keep themselves safe so that we can get through the test on Wednesday and get through the test on Friday. But in the meantime, the guys that are out there, we have to keep rolling. And you may be the backup, but the backup knows that he's 1 day away from being the starter. The third team guy's 1 day away from being the starter. So it's stressful, it's anxiety, but everybody's dealing with it.
And the other thing is K-State typically is not this big of an underdog. Oklahoma is favored by 28 points. I'm just curious your response to that point spread and also just that us against the world mentality that your guys can adapt and bring into Norman.
I wasn't aware. Don't pay attention to a lot of the point spread things, but they're a really good football team. And we, after 1 game, showed that we have a long ways to go. So that makes sense to me. It's still, you got to line up and play. We have to not worry about who the opponent is, and we know who it is, and more focus on us getting better at all areas, offensively and defensively.
Thanks so much. Good luck.
Lynn Harrington.
Coach, was it a blessing or does it disrupt kind of your rhythm? You just get started, you play a game, and then you have a week off, and now you're getting ready to play. I know this has been the weirdest season, the weirdest lead up to a season, but does it seem like you just get started and you have to stop, or because of all of the different things going on with testing and that, maybe it worked out for your good?
It's a great question. We just kind of go day by day. You would like to get a routine and knock on wood, we can get into a routine with 3 games in a row now so that our guys can get in the routine of what happens on a Monday and rolling through and then getting the soreness out on Sunday and getting ready to play again. That's the hope for everybody across college football, that you can get some games strung together. But it's also the reality that even if you are able to play those games, you're going to be playing them with different people or moving guys positionally. And that's just kind of the world we're in right now. And I think all of us coaches now have kind of accepted it. I was one that in August, like, oh, shoot, we lost that kid for 14 days or that kid's going into isolation. Now it's more of, okay, that's the hand we're dealt. Who can we move over? Who can we move positions to?
Go ahead, Lynn Harrington. I think we're having a bad connection there, Lynn. So let's go on to Kellis.
Hey, Coach. How is Skylar Thompson feeling this week? Is he back at 100% health after being limited a little bit last week?
He didn't do anything last week other than rehab and things. He did practice yesterday, and I thought he felt really good. So I'm confident with a week of practice that he'll be at full strength for Saturday.
Given that you were dinged up at defensive back last week, have you looked into moving guys over at that position or trying some new people out just to give you some depth there?
Oh, yeah, we're moving guys all the time, and that's what we did last week, from trying true freshmen to moving safeties to corners, corners to safeties, wide receivers to defensive back, and everything. But we also need to prepare for kids being able to learn and play multiple positions, because you just don't know what could happen to you on a Wednesday or a Friday if a test doesn't go your way, that you at least have some familiarity with a number of players playing different spots.
And one more for you. Where would you say that Oklahoma victory last year ranks, in all the big wins you've had through the years at all the schools you've coached?
It was obviously a big win because it was a home win. It was on homecoming and those things. But, I guess I don't ever really look at that as far as where it ranks. I don't have a tally on my wall or anything of where things are at, and kind of just play it year by year and game by game.
Adam Meyer.
Coach Justin Hughes, he was dusting off some rust coming into the season, and he got 6 tackles for him against Arkansas State. And what you've seen from him in practice since then, just what would you say you expect to see from him now that you're going into conference play?
Oh, just to continue to improve, continue to get more healthy, continue to get his knees stronger, continue to just play the game at football speed that Justin wants to play at. Everybody knows what a terrific player he was pre-injury. And I think there's a lot of pressure on the young man himself to say, I have to get back to that. And it takes some time. And that's the thing that's difficult, is it doesn't happen overnight. It didn't happen with Eli last year when he came off his knee injury. I thought Eli got stronger as the season went on. And that's what we're hopeful with Justin as well.
And Harry Trotter, he can make a big impact on the team. He stepped up and got that big touchdown in the fourth quarter to tie the game. Just how much do you expect him to continue making an impact now?
Yeah, Harry's doing a great job, like I knew he would be. He just does everything for us. He catches the ball out of the backfield, he protects, he runs the ball, he's on special teams. We're really fortunate to have Harry on the team, and he's an unselfish guy as well. He just wants to help the team, whether he's carrying the ball 15 to 18 times, whether he's carrying the ball 10 times, catching a couple passes, helping us out on kickoff. You love those type of players because it's more about the team than it is themselves.
Let's go to John Kurtz.
Yeah, Chris, I mentioned yesterday on the teleconference that you've been trying to work in some freshmen, some more significant guys that can give you 10 to 15 snaps. Have there been any guys that have stood out in that regard to you so far?
Keon Mosey has done some really nice things. He's getting some more reps, and he's the one that jumps out at me right now. T. Denson is a guy that we're looking at to give us some special teams or backup reps or whatever you may call it. But, the one thing that we did last week is we had a couple of periods every day where just the young players played against the young players, just with our base offense and base defense. And as you get into the season, sometimes you kind of scale back on that stuff. We're going to go the same thing for the foreseeable future on Tuesdays when we have full pads, is to let those young players go against each other for 10 or 12, 15, 20 plays a day, just so that they continue to get comfortable and confident in the scheme, as well as us seeing guys to say, okay, he is ready to help us, especially during COVID where you might lose a few guys at a position.
I know you'd also mentioned last week the fact that you had some meetings at the beginning of the week as opposed to practicing. Looking back on it now, a week later, how productive do you feel like that was for you guys?
I think they were productive, but I mean that the meetings that we had weren't all dealing with what's going to happen on the field and the scoreboard and stuff. Some of the things on the inner workings of our program we wanted to continue to improve upon, be better at, challenge the guys, making sure the guys hold each other accountable to the standard that we expect, working on discipline, maturity, all sorts of things that, just don't happen overnight. So you got to realize we lost 4 or 5 months of a lot of time with coaches and players together. And you lose that much time, you don't just make up for it in a quick summer camp or fall, especially when so many guys miss. It's going to take a lot of teams a while to recover from the amount of time that they lost. I'm not saying on the field, that's a no-brainer. I'm saying off the field as well.
Thanks, Chris.
You bet.
Sully?
Yeah, hey, Coach. Just kind of looking back towards last year, obviously the marquee win over Oklahoma. Going forward to this year, do you think that's a big point of confidence for the guys that played in that game? Think that, we should be right there on the same level with them? It kind of allows them, even though it's on the road this time, to have a lot of confidence going into this one?
Well, I think the guys that played obviously should have some confidence that they competed really well against a great football team. The younger guys, they just need to continue to get better at their craft and understanding what we're doing with Kansas State offense, defense, and teams. But both teams are brand new. They have a new quarterback. We have a lot of new offensive linemen and some new guys on defense. And so the teams are totally different. But the guys that played in the game, I hope, have some confidence to say, we had some success.
Yeah, and speaking of their quarterback, after watching him play, one game at the college level, what did you kind of see from him so far, and what have you been telling the guys about him and what to prepare for?
Well, we have limited film, but just the fact that he's working under Lincoln Riley, he's going to be a great player because Lincoln is as good as there is at coaching quarterbacks. And so I think he has a tremendous arm strength. I think he does a great job of reading defenses, looking people off, knowing where he's going with the football. He's an extremely good athlete. They didn't run him, and they didn't need to run him much against Missouri State. But I know just doing some research that he can beat you with his feet as well as his arm. And so I know he's a young player, but boy, I've been so impressed just with his skill set.
Cool. Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Kellis?
Sebastian Taylor probably had his best game in a K-State uniform in week 1. Is that something that you think he can sustain all season for you guys?
Well, he needs to for us to be successful, and we've seen that all through the summer and fall camp. The practices that we've had, limited or not, he's been the dominant guy in my mind on a daily basis. And so we were confident that Sebastian would have that kind of a game, and hopefully it gives him a lot of confidence too, that he is so much more comfortable, so much better year 2 in the system. He's stronger. He has really good speed. He has excellent hands. He runs good routes, and he's a big physical guy. And so I was not surprised with his performance, and I can't wait to see what he does the rest of the year.
I was also curious, when you have a young quarterback who shows some talent like Will, is it tempting at all to try to sneak him in for a few snaps every game?
Sure it is. But we need to – he's no different than Deuce Vaughn that, you say you snuck him in for a few snaps. Deuce played more snaps than Will and had a lot of production. But Deuce needs that practice time. Will needs that practice time. Will needs to go against the first defense on consecutive days and go against them in third down and put him under some stress. And he was able to do that last week because Skylar didn't take very many reps. So Nick and Will took most of the reps with the 1s and the 2s. And I think I know it will make those two guys better in the future because they were taking the lion's share of the reps, not, hey, Skylar takes 8 and you guys each take 2. They were taking every bit of those reps. And so I know it's going to make them better now and in the future.
Last one right here, Scott Fritch.
Yeah. Hey, Chris. This will be your first trip to Norman, obviously. They typically have a pretty daunting atmosphere. I saw that in their opener, though, they only had 22,000 fans. How does that maybe play into things on Saturday?
That's a good question. I've not been to Norman before. Obviously seen a bunch of games on television. It's still a home field for them. It's still a home field advantage. The noise factor, is it? It's not going to be what it typically is, but I'm sure as tight as those sidelines are, that the noise will be a factor, and so something that we have to practice for. But I think that's going to be the kind of the interesting thing as you go across all these places and people come in here is what is the environment and how do your kids adjust to it, whether it's very little crowd to no crowd or to 22,000 in the crowd noise that could come with that. So I think every week will be kind of a different adventure there.